Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rocha HaKodash. I want to give the word honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, who do rule well. Peace, blessing to the sincere Akim, many the elect brethren who pushing the truth on the four corners of the youth, giving all diligence to meet the calling and election sure. Alright, this is Brother Kwana from the great millstone camp, coming once again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. And Lord will end this lesson, edifying unto the elected nation of Israel. Alright? And today's topic is just touching on these two-thirds. Two-thirds of our people, not number by myself among the elect, but Lord willing, to be part of that number could be a blessed thing. Alright, and two-thirds of the nation of Israel, is waxing worse and worse. Alright, they're waxing worse and worse in rebelling against the Most High Word. Alright, as of lately in this land here right now, every day is murders, even abroad, homosexualities, alright, lesbianism, alright, rebellious appearance, and the scriptures prophesy these things. Alright, prophesy these things. This is the book of 2 Timothy. This is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3 and verse 1. And it reads, it says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemous, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy." Alright, and these things going to fit the prospect of the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native, Hispanics. Alright, because these are the ones who the Heavenly Father have sent His Son not to die for. As when the incident had happened with Isaiah, in Isaiah the 6th chapter, where He said, "My lips is unclean before the seraphim and before the Heavenly Father, and the angel take the coal and put it in his mouth." Alright, and He said, "Thy mouth is purged, or is clean," right? And then He told him in Isaiah chapter 6, if I could just read this, Isaiah chapter 6, I read from verse 5. It says, I'll just read from verse 1 to flow into it. It says, "And in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord Yahweh sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train fled and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims." Alright, seraphims is like some angels with a lot of wings, like some smaller ones. It says, "And above it stood, above it stood the seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And he cried unto another, and said, Holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of His glory. And the post of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was full of smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar, and he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sin is purged." Alright, and this could also represent a symbolization, alright, that this word, which the Heavenly Father, through His Son Yahushai, Lord willing, we is part of the Lord elect, we have a chance, to enter in, to speak this word. Alright, it says, "Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongues from off the altar, and he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, This hath touched thy lips, and thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And whom will go forth us? Then said I, Here am I, send me. There's Isaiah saying, send me, you know, to go and prophesy unto who? The Lord's people, right? Isaiah saying that, but there's a message that's going to come from this. And this is the same message, that is being said today. 2/3 of the Lord people, ain't going to get this. Because Yahushua, the one who died on the cross, he have died for the elect. Alright, he have not died for all Israel to be saved in this time that we're heading into. But all Israel going to be saved in the kingdom, alright, via the elect, coming through the loins of the elect. Alright, Salakia. Alright, so he says, this is the message. And he said, Go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see indeed, but perceive not. Alright, this is what the Lord telling unto Isaiah, because he said, I will go. Alright, hear ye indeed. And this is what being done. They hearing indeed, but they understand not. They seeing indeed, but they seeing not, for all the signs and the prophecies which the Lord, have gave the utterance to the Rakak Wadash unto his men, alright, who prophesying the downfall of this place. As it says in Isaiah chapter 42 and verses 19, it says, Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect? Because we're supposed to be a perfect people, alright? But what happening to us now? 2/3 of our people are gone. They're gone. Clear to see. They're gone, as the scripture says in Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 28. It says, They are waxen fat. They shine, yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. That is what our people are. They overpass the deeds of the wicked. When you look at Jake today, they're in the most wicked state. They're doing the most abomination, homosexuality, lesbianism, despising God, unthankful, unholy, disobedience to parents. Alright? As much as the Lord men on the streets, on the YouTubes, the university of all things. I was called the YouTube, the university of all things. Firstly, it had the word of salvation, which is Yahweh Shai being preached day in, day out, week in, week out, whether on the videos or on the highways. Alright? But 2/3 of the Lord people are waxing worse and worse. As the scripture just said, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. When you look at them. So he says, going back to Isaiah chapter 6 and verse 10, it says, Make the heart which goes into the mind of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed. Then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, Until the city be wasted without inhabitant. And we enter into that time, alright, where the city is going to be waste without inhabitant. When you go into the book higher up at Relievers Isaiah 34, alright, we talk about a confused line, a line of confusion. You're going to see this was Washington DC, or this was here, or this was that. Because the Lord is ready to make a sore destruction. He's ready to make a sore destruction upon this earth for the abominations that being done. Alright? And for despising the word, as he told in the book of Ezra. Alright? I think it's 2nd Ezra, the 1st chapter. It make reference to you have not forsaken me but your own selves. Alright? Because if Yahweh Bar Hashem Yahushai, not if, but Yahweh Bar Hashem Yahushai is, he is ultimately all powerful. It have nobody can rise against him to do him anything. But we need salvation. Yeah, but we need salvation. So we need him. Alright? We need him. We need him more than ever. We need him to deliver us from this sort of destruction, as you was giving Isaiah this message. Because you were saying, how long? Alright? How long? So he says, Then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without men, and the land be utterly desolate. And the land be utterly desolate. And what's going to cause that, all right, is these missiles which the Lord have created, to do destruction. There's Isaiah 54. Isaiah 54 and verses 16. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy, until the land be what? Utterly wasted. The smith gonna be these modern day scientists, Oppenheimer, alright, demonize these Germans who have given the technology, or who was given the knowledge to the technology of the nuclear missiles. Alright, this was all done by the Mosai Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And as the scripture says in 1 Peter the 4th chapter, they talk about judgment beginning at the house of the Lord. Alright, meaning where the men who preach in this word. And then it goes on to says, where shall the sinner, 2/3 of the Lord people, those who break the covenant, because we're going to be judged by these things. Alright, we ain't going to be saved by it. We're going to be saved through Yahushai. Alright, but we're going to be judged by it, because we know that the law is good to he that use it what? Lawfully. But remember, this was a covenant, agreement. So for all those who want to live ungodly, there is a punishment for it. Alright, to every action, physics prove it, right? To every action there is a what? An equal reaction. So if you do this, you're going to get this. Alright, so there's the book of Zechariah. Selects, Zechariah chapter 12. Is it Zechariah 12 or Zechariah chapter 14? Select Zechariah chapter 13 and verses 7. It says, awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, saith the Lord of hosts. Smite the shepherd. Select. Verse 8, it says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, the message from Isaiah, right? How long? And this land will refers to America, aka Babylon the Great, alright, where the ultimate destruction of the Heavenly Father is going to be, mainly in that land, alright, but it's going to have destruction in different places where the chariot is going to come to do destruction. It says, and it shall come to pass that in all land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. Alright, and that third going to represent the remnant of the elect, alright, in the land of America. Alright, but on the four corners of the earth there are elect. Mark 13:24 going to explain that. But this here is particularly going into, alright, the destruction of America, aka Babylon the Great, where 2/3 of the Lord people are, and where the elect, alright, a numbered part of the elect are numbered amongst them, and that same very said land. Alright, for the rebelliousness, for the revoltedness, as the scripture says in Isaiah chapter 1. I'll read this, Isaiah chapter 1 and verses 1 and verses 2. It says, hear, O heavens, and give ear, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. Alright, all the things you have received in your life, you think was you did it? You think you was able to draw in the common air that we all breathe in when we be born? You think was you created the breast from your mother, or the sperm from your father? Alright, you think was you? It wasn't you, it wasn't I. It was Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, the true names of the Heavenly Father. He was the one, and his son, they were the ones who did it. Alright, it says, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's scrip, but Israel do not know, my people do not consider. And these animals that he draw reference to is animals that we would call dumb. Alright, but these animals know where their feeding grounds are. They know where to come back to when they go out. They come back home. They come back home to the master. They know that. They know that. But this is what the remnant of the Lord is doing. Alright, the remnant. The remnant is what is returning to the Heavenly Father fulfilling Malachi the 4th chapter, alright, and turning the hearts of the children. So it goes on to says, it says, a sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. And when the Lord anger is enlarged to the point where he said judgment time, because all the words that are written within this book, they're going to be fulfilled. They're going to be fulfilled. And he's going to rain nuclear missiles upon this earth. 2/3 of the Lord people, Esau, Edom, other nations who set to get burned in the fire that the nuclear missiles is going to bring that destruction, they're going to feel it. Alright? This is the righteous indignation of the Lord. Alright? This is the righteous indignation of the Lord. So it soon come. Alright? It soon come. But hopefully this lesson was edifying to the elected nation of Israel. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone who do good well. Peace and blessing to the saints of Akim. May the elect pressure to push in the truth and the four corners of the earth, giving all diligence to make the calling and election sure. Shalom. Mawat Nababal Abababal. That time, America.